I'm announcing this government will make a new free of charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of this Parliament. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID. It's as simple as that.
I think what we will see is that there will be a lot of people wanting to opt into this. I've already talked to a couple of frequent travellers who say, why is it going to take until 2029? I want it now. And look, this is a very, very 19th century document. The idea that you look at this and compare it with your images is very, very outdated. So we should already have passports on our phones. GB News' Bev Turner said, the pandemic and all that stuff we had to have on our phones was just a rehearsal. She was absolutely right. You'll recall, if you wanted to go any further than Dover, you suddenly had to have all kinds of things. Your vaccination certificate, you had to get a special pass. Each country had their own one. And yeah, we were softened up for it.
And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against the Heavenly Father, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. Revelation chapter 13, verse 6 to 8. Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha Kodesh. Double honors to our venerable apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. And peace and blessings to our Lord's elect, the house of David. All right, so Brother Aharon coming back at you with another lesson. The Lord will be edifying and uplifting unto the elect. And today is the 27th of September, 2025 AD. And I believe yesterday, some breaking news, all right, hit the airwaves, all right, with Prime Minister Keir Starmer from the UK, okay, announcing, all right, or making an announcement of this digital, mandatory digital ID, okay, and of course, those of us who've been paying attention, very close attention to this, the Mark of the Beast prophecy, all right, the MOTB prophecy, this is a huge step. All right, this is one of the biggest, if not the biggest step yet when it comes to the MOTB. Okay, because now you're looking at digital IDs, okay, being made mandatory. Just like the book of Revelation says that he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a charagma in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the you know what. Okay, so by looking at what's going on in the UK, we understand that the UK, eventually the European nations are going to be looking at what the UK is doing, and they're going to follow suit. And once they follow suit, you know who else is going to be right in line with that, which is going to be America, Babylon the Great. Okay, everything starts from the east and sets in the west. All right, so let me just get this real quick. This article is quite lengthy once again, so we're going to run through it real fast and pick out whatever it is that we need to pick out. If not, we're just going to run through it. Okay, it's pretty self-explanatory, which is a very good thing about these articles, is that they pretty much give you everything there is to give. All right, so we're not really, doing too much at this point. We're just reading it and explaining to you, and then going into the prophecies as to these are the prophecies that pertain to what's going on right now. Okay, so let's read. It says, mandatory digital ID is here. UK is first domino to fall in new digital order. Back up. It says, imagine walking into a grocery store, a bank, or even your doctor's office and being told access denied. Digital ID not verified. The lights flash red. A clerk shakes their head. Suddenly, your life is on hold. No money, no rent, no appointments. A small app or card has become the master key to your entire existence. This isn't fiction. It is the path the UK is racing toward. Just last year, the Labour government promised citizens there would be no return to national identity cards. The idea was politically radioactive, a symbol of Big Brother surveillance, of a state watching every citizen. Yet now, the government is preparing to announce digital ID mandatory for all adults, transforming a once unthinkable intrusion into an impeding reality. Okay, and the only thing that makes it possible is because of the advancements in technology. Okay, now with advancements in technology, otherwise known as AI, which we just did a lesson on a couple of days ago, all right, that AI is part of what Esau is going to use to deceive them, all right, that took the MOTB, okay, because it's all part of deception. And when you go into that word, all right, AI, which we did in that lesson, we're going to go into once again, all right, the book of Joshua, the 7th chapter, okay, Joshua chapter 7, and I believe verse 2, that name AI pops up, okay, and when you go into that word AI, okay, or IE, which is pronounced, but we just go with AI. It says here, heap of ruins, right? And when you go into it, you go into the root word, all right, of AI, you get IE, okay, which you go into that root word, all right, you go into that root word, it says, I believe, Iwa, which means what? To bend, to twist, to distort, okay, to do perversely, to commit iniquity, all right, but here it says to bend, to twist, or to distort, okay. So when you look at what's going on with this AI situation, what they're doing is they're bending the people's will. They're turning everything from what you used to know, what you used to do, to now what you're going to do under surveillance, all right, under total control, all right, under a life where you need access in order to function. Okay, that is all like it's a permission-based system / society that we're living in. And how do you know that? Because in order for you to do anything, you have to go get a license. If you want to work, you got to get a license to work. If you want to own a business, you have to have a license to own that business. So whatever it is that you're doing, you have to seek permission from the state, from the government, from your city, whatever the case may be. Okay, so now they're transforming that ability to, engage in commerce or have a life or whatever the case may be. All right, they've changed it now to make where it's going to be ran through AI. That's why they're building these so-called data centers here in America, because America is that machine. All right, they're global so-called factory machine, right? Machine that is based on just technological advancements. That's you're gonna get that here in America. Okay, so let's go back to this real quick. All right, so the word AI, when you actually go into the root word of it, it means to distort, all right, to bend, okay, to twist, to pervert, all right, to bend, okay, to do wrong, to commit iniquity, to pervert, okay. Let's see if we get a little bit more here. Right, it says crooked, all right, to do amiss, to bow down, okay, to make crooked, to do wickedly, to do wrong. Okay, so they're going to use that AI, right? Let's get that real quick. You see right here. I believe right here it says, right here, Revelation chapter 13 and verse 14, it says, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles. And the miracles, it goes into what? Their technology. Okay, which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, right? Meaning in the nations that will be considered both in the NATO and EU. Those are the main countries or main nations that are going to bring about this MOTB technology, and the rest of the world will follow suit. Okay, so it says, saying to them that dwell on the earth, meaning going through the UN and so on and so forth, right? It's a United Nations kind of thing, right? World New World Order. It says that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. So let's all come together to push the system that was being used back then during the time of the Roman Empire. Okay, but this time we're going to do it like never before, meaning we're going to completely take over the whole world, but we're going to use it through the means of AI. All right, a form of distorting of reality, perversing of the minds of the people. All right, bending them, making them to bow down, all right, to this new system. They're going to do it through AI. All right, the word AI literally means heap of ruins. And when you go into it a little bit further, all right, the root word of it, you're going to end up seeing that it means to bend or to ruin or to commit iniquity, all right, and so on and so forth. Okay, so in order for them to bring in this MOTB system, you have the system there, but also you have to have the people on board. That's where you have the MOTB mentality play out. Okay, that's where the AI distortion of reality comes in. Okay, so it says here, it says, this isn't fiction. It is the path the UK is racing toward. I think we read this already. Right? It says, until recently, ministers insisted digital identity schemes were off the table. Even after lobbying from senior figures, Labour publicly rejected any plan. Today, however, the Brit card is being promoted as a solution for immigration enforcement, border control, and broader social administration. Such a rapid shift should set off alarm bells. Why now? The timing is telling. Amid record small boat crossings, asylum backlogs, and mounting public anxiety, the government seeks a dramatic fix. Every adult would hold a digital ID required to rent, work, or access essential services, forcing compliance into every corner of life. There you go. Okay, now we said this was going to happen. Okay, we mentioned when they were doing all those migrant crisis, and it was happening in many different countries all over Europe, especially here in the States. You had that here. Okay, and we said that they're going to bank on this. All right, this is all being done by design. Those migrant crisis thing was happening under the previous prime minister. I think his name is Rishi Sunak, if I'm not mistaken. And then Keir Starmer comes in, the one who's supposed to fix the problem that the previous guy did. He comes in and he makes it even worse. Okay, he makes it even worse. And when you go into his name, all right, Keir Starmer, all right, it literally means black star. Okay, black star, man. And when you go into the left hand energy with esoteric symbology and all that shit, the black star is like almost like the Kaaba stone, if you will, right? It's all going into like the worship of Saturn and all that. Keir means black, and Stammer goes to the word star. Okay, so just a little bit, nomen omen right there. All right. So continuing, it says, officials have studied Estonia's model, where citizens receive a digital identity at birth, used across banking, voting, healthcare, and taxation. But the UK system could go far beyond, linking immigration, welfare, banking, housing, healthcare, and commerce into a single centralized framework. Okay, and this is something also known as mission creep. Okay, because once the people allow them to come in with whatever policy that they're coming in with, once they get their foot in the door, they change everything else outside of that. Okay, that's called mission creep. Let's just get our foot in the door, and once we get our foot in the door, we can change everything in that room. Okay, but if the people don't allow us to open that door, then we can't really do anything. All right, so it says here, what starts as convenience or security hides a far darker reality, right? Like the old saying that says the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Okay, it says a compulsory digital ID centralizes unprecedented power over every citizen. See, for those who know what's going on and those who are aware of what's happening, we know what this leads to. But for the rest of the citizens or the rest of the world who don't know what's going on, this is just another advancement in technology to make their lives better because they believe the bullshit that they're being told, right? It's like expecting a pharmaceutical company to stop making drugs that causes cancer just so you can save people's lives. Meaning they got to take a hit in the pocket to save lives. What do you think they're going to do? Oh, I need to stop making money because we want to keep our children safe. Fuck out of here. I'm not doing that shit. That's their mindset. Okay? So if you sit there, you believe in everything that they're giving you. Oh, this is good for you. This is healthy. This makes your hair grow faster and stronger and better. It's like, oh, I'm going to put a chemical in my hair to make my hair grow faster than it naturally would. Oh, that's not going to harm me at all now, would it? So the Most High is not clever enough. He didn't know better, right? So he didn't set my hair to grow a certain length, right? At a certain time or at a certain pace. So because I'm not satisfied with how the Lord made me naturally, I'm going to go use Esau's augmentation, okay, to make me enhance my beauty or enhance my looks or whatever the case may be. All that carnality shit. You notice Esau doesn't create anything to enhance your spirit. Nothing on this earth right here that we deal with will ever enhance your spirit that's made by Esau. If anything, it's going to decrease your spiritual vibration. Okay? But when you tap it into the Spirit of the Lord, you gain the benefits, not just spiritually, but physically as well. Okay? It's hard to do, but when you're able to actually achieve it, man, the benefits are, unprecedented. All right? So continue, it says, surveillance and control. Imagine a government with a live map of your daily life. Every purchase, every medical appointment, every online comment. Linking all activity to a single ID creates the blueprint for a surveillance society. Right? The panopticon. Okay? The things that Larry Ellison and them are pitching. Okay? The things that OpenAI from Sam Altman, they're pitching. Okay? The things like Palantir, what they're pitching with Peter Thiel and Alex Karp and them. Okay? Just to name a few. But they're out here boldly just claiming, they're just telling you, hey, this is going to make the citizens be on their best behavior. It's like, what? Dude, who the fuck is you? Huh? Larry Ellison, who the fuck is you? You old ass bitch. You need to go sit your ass down someplace, man. All right? Citizens going to be on their best behavior. The nerve of these hoes, man. And when you look at their track record, they're all J's, bro. All of them. Larry Ellison is a J. Freaking Sam Altman, he's a J. Zuckerberg, it's in his name. He's a J. All right? He didn't even try to change his J. All right? Who's the other one? Whoever's on the list, they're all J's, bro. Trust me, they all go back to the same lineage. That's why they all have the same mindset, the same agendas. Okay? Continue, it says, history shows such powers, once granted, are rarely returned. From East Germany's Stasi to modern social credit systems. Exclusion and coercion. A digital ID is not just identification, it is a gatekeeper. Could a bureaucratic error, algorithmic bias, or political whim prevent you from working, renting, or buying groceries? Society itself becomes contingent on state approval, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the you-know-what. So this is the stage. And then after this stage, then they're going to say, anyone who doesn't have the CHIP, you can't go back to the digital ID is not going to even really matter because it's physical. Right now, the digital ID is physical to a degree. You can have it on your phone and so on and so forth. What if when the time comes, they're going to say, nah, this is not safe anymore. Okay. Now this has to be underneath your skin because the digital ID really can't tell us how you feel, your health. And so we need something that covers everything. So it covers your finances, it covers your identity, it covers your health, everything about you. And this is what is known as mission creep. Okay? Mission creep. Digital IDs rarely remain limited to their original purpose. Welfare, healthcare, taxation, voting, and even private commerce can all become linked, right? So think of blockchain. Okay? Think of the zero trust architecture. Or / infrastructure, right? Where everything you do is linked to everything that you've done. Okay, so if you signed in at 8 a.m., it's already on the docket, right? And then you picked up your phone and then you checked on IG at 8:05, it's on the docket. And then at 10, he went to the bank. And how much did he put out of the bank? He took $10,000 or he put $500 or whatever the case may be. It's all on the docket. Everything you do, your digital footprint, so to speak, will be tracked and traced. See? So everything you put online, you comment anything online, is already on the docket. It runs, boom, boom, oh, this person said this, da, 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 at this time of the day, they said this about this topic, and they made these comments, boom, boom, boom. Where are they right now? AI can track you down. Okay? AI can track you down. Say, oh, this person lives here. Oh, he's driving over here in real time. Send a drone after him. Let's go track him down, see where he's going. You see? It's about to be very, very crazy out here. You want to talk about draconian? Get ready. It says, each integration expands state leverage, inching toward total control. All right. And that is exactly what mission creep is. Okay, and let's read a little bit about that. All right, I'm gonna pull it up real quick here. Let's see what we got. Let's see. All right, mission creep. What is mission creep? Right, mission creep is a gradual or incremental expansion of an intervention, project, or mission beyond its original scope, focus, or goals, a ratchet effect spawned by initial success. Okay, so mission creep you could also look at mission creep as the boiling frog method. Okay, that's also part of mission creep, right? Because it starts off small and the next thing you know, they turn up the heat as the time goes, right? You could also look at it as gradualism. Same thing, right? Same thing. You can also, you could put problem reaction solution in there as mission creep, right? Because they say one thing and then something else, they plan something else, and then based on that something else, the people's reaction gives them the ability or the excuse to come up with another solution. And it keeps on going. You'd be like, wait, you niggas said this is just to block out. You gave us a digital ID to block out illegals from getting jobs and so on and so forth. But now you niggas is telling us that we all got to go take a CHIP, in order for the system to actually work. Like, why did you create this system in the first place then? Right? But that's the way the system is set up is set up to fail. So once that failure happens, then they're justified in saying, the one and only true success and the only true way of fixing this problem forever is going to have everybody to be on the grid, everybody to have that CHIP. So now we can't confuse who's illegal and who's not. We have everyone on the docket. You see, that's why it says a cause of all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond. Everyone. Okay? It says mission creep is usually considered undesirable due to how each success breeds more ambitious interventions until a final failure happens, stopping the intervention entirely. Okay? So that's a little bit on mission creep. Like I said, it's more of like a concept of gradualism. Okay, and that's what you're seeing now. Okay, so the digital ID is a first step in mission creep. Okay, they slowly creep these draconian measures in. All right, so it says, imagine pairing this system with government-issued digital currency, CBDCs, right? Every transaction could be monitored, restricted, or frozen in real time. Okay? Economic freedom disappears. Your ability to buy, to sell, or work depends entirely on government consent, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the you-know-what. Okay? Now the prophecy is coming clearer and clearer and clearer. You got all these cons of IUIC. Guess what? They all gonna have to admit the truth because it's right in your face. People gonna be like, yo, y'all can't even see this shit? Y'all can't see this? How you gonna call yourself a prophet? You can't see this, right? So it says what? It says society becomes dependent, traceable, and controllable at the keystroke of the state. For those who read scripture, right, the warnings are stark. Revelation 13 describes a time when no man can buy or sell without the mark, a digital seal of allegiance. That cuts deep, man. Okay, a digital seal of allegiance. It says mandatory digital IDs, especially when paired with digital currency, echo this chilling vision. What begins as a logical fix for immigration could rapidly evolve into total societal control. Okay? Consider also Daniel's prophecies, which speak of kingdoms that consolidate power, demand allegiance, and suppress dissent. A system that requires every citizen to register digitally, linking identity, finances, and access to resources, mirrors this vision of centralized authority. It is not hard to imagine a world where compliance becomes mandatory and those who resist are systematically excluded from the economy and society. And Lord willing, that's going to be the next lesson I'm going to do. All right, going into how they set up these 15-minute cities, otherwise known as prison cities. And those who don't comply are not going to be given access to be in these 15-minute cities, right? In other words, Esau is about to make these prison cities seem more like a luxury. Like you want to be a part of that. And anyone who doesn't comply to be in this prison, you're going to be excluded from this prison. So in other words, you're free from the prison physically, but everything else you do, you feel more like you're in chains, if that makes sense, right? You're pretty much off grid. And how many people are off grid that are going to actually have an ability to thrive off grid? How many people are going to have farms that they can still continue to work on while they're off grid? When you have all these companies and corporations saying that, hey, if you have a farm, you got to shut it down because we have a farm over here and you have chickens and we have chickens, but your chickens are not following the code of our chickens because you want to grow them naturally and have them graze in the field and eat natural herbs and so on and so forth. Our chickens are given antibiotics and they're kept in a small little cage and they're stacked on top of each other and they smell and they're disgusting and they're filled with diseases. But your live free range chickens, guess what? If an outbreak happens, you can infect my chickens. So we need to shut you down. So eventually a lot of these farmers are not going to be able to sustain. Okay. So anyone who wants to live off grid, it's going to be very difficult. You're not going to be able to get somebody who's, you know, like I said, a farmer or a fisherman or somebody who's also living off grid. That's going to be low key enough for you to say, oh, I'm living off grid because I got my next door neighbor who got this, and that. So I can still live. I can still survive. I can still go back to the basics. Nah. That's why you have all these policies happening, because they want to make sure that you don't have any avenue or option outside of what they're going to present. That's why it's called the hour of temptation. HOT. H-O-T. Okay? So let's finish. It says here, so that means, in other words, your only dependence is going to be on Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. There's no other way out of this thing, man. All right, this is literally that beast system, man. There's no way out of it. That's why John saw it and he called it a beast system, meaning it's ferocious. Okay, it's very unforgiving. Right? It's very, very ferocious, unforgiving. Doesn't care who you are, what you think you are, what you believe in. As long as you're not giving it it's just due, it's gonna be a problem for you. Okay, and to that we say, bring that shit on, nigga. Let's go. All right. So continue. It says, it says here. Let me see where I stop off at. Right. It says, these prophetic parallels remind us that the forces of control are often gradualism, right, cloaked in the language of convenience, efficiency, or safety, when they shall say peace and safety, right? And that's what you've been hearing a lot. All these new infrastructure that's being built, these prisons that's being built, all right, this beast system, so to speak, is all being built in the name of convenience and safety, peace and safety, all right? It says, yet their ultimate purpose is absolute oversight, total control. Okay? Europe will watch the UK closely, like we said before. If this experiment succeeds, it will likely spread quietly, normalized under the guise of efficiency, safety, or progress. Once citizens submit, rolling it back becomes nearly impossible. Well, it's going to be impossible. There will be no such thing as rolling it back. What begins as migration, enforcement could become the blueprint for global surveillance, economic dependency, and behavioral control. The danger is here, not in some distant dystopia future. Mandatory digital ID coupled with digital currency could hand the state absolute control over who can live, work, and buy, shaping the economy, limiting dissent, and controlling daily life. The choice is ours. It really isn't. All right. Vigilance or submission. Question every logical reform that expands state oversight. Well, why do you think they got all these distractions? Because they don't want people to pay attention to these changes that are happening in their society that's going to be affecting them in the next few months. They don't want people paying attention to that shit. And the very few who are paying attention and speaking about it, they're shutting their ass down with quote unquote misinformation and hate speech and, harmful content, all this bullshit, man. All right. You cannot wake up the rest who are not awake. If you try that shit, we're going to shut you down. That's where we at, man. That's where we at. Okay. So you have to use, I guess you got to use smart ways to beat the algorithm. Okay. Which the word algorithm goes into, demon. Okay. Or demon god. All right. Algo. When you break it down, algo, the algo is for the algorithmic language. Okay. And that goes to Arabic god or demon god called algo. Okay. So the algorithm is based on, some type of left-handed energy. Okay. So Esau is going all the way left hand with this shit. That's why it tells you in Isaiah 47, stand now with thine enchantments. Okay. and thy sorceries which thou hast labored from thy youth. Okay, all this wicked ass left-handed energy, now they're just able to transfer it into a digital form. Okay, sick work, man. Very, very sick work. Okay, but it says here, demand alternatives that preserve liberty and heed the prophetic warnings, meaning you got to listen to what the prophets are saying. Okay, because whether you like it or yes, everything the prophets are saying is coming to pass. And you don't have 10, 15 years for these things to happen. Oh, I'll be dead and gone in a long time. No. You got months. You got months. After this shit that just happened in the UK, oh, things are going to speed up. Oh, things are going to speed up. And like the elder apostle Tahar said, 2026 is going to be a big year. Hey, we see it. We see it. It's like literally the stage has been set from 2025 to enter into 2026, especially here in Babylon the Great. Okay, the numerologies is all lining up. There's a whole lot of bunch of sixes in there. Okay, and America is going to be what, 250 years? We'll see. Okay, it says, and heed the prophetic warning. Systems that control identity and transactions are the very infrastructure that could lead to the mark of the beast. So the article is actually mentioning it. The article is telling you that these things is leading to the mark of the beast, just like we've been saying. Okay, remember, once digital oversight and currency merge, so now we're at the digital oversight part, currency is next. They're just working on the legislative part, the law part. Okay, once that's done, you're going to see it. It's going to get rolled out. Once digital oversight and currency merge, the line between safety and servitude can vanish overnight. The choices made today will echo for generations. Okay, ultimately, that will be the end of America Babylon the Great. Okay, so this is it, man. This is it. This is what we've been waiting for. All right, this is what we've been waiting for. Okay, once you start seeing these things happening, when they start using the word mandatory, in other words, you don't have the power. There ain't no options. Okay, it's the book of Habakkuk chapter 2 and start from verse 3. It says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Oh Lord, we are truly seeing the words of the Heavenly Father play out. Okay, to the point where the people in the world are actually quoting the very words that are written in the scriptures of the Lord. We don't got to do too much. We just read what they're saying. Okay, it says for the vision is yet for an appointed time, right? So the vision is for a future time. That future is now. Okay, that future is now. You know, the word future and tomorrow are synonymous. Okay, hey, today, people use that. Today we might be doing this, but tomorrow we seek to do this. It could mean today literally and tomorrow literally, or it could mean today as in this time and tomorrow as in a future time. Okay, so the vision is yet for an appointed time, meaning it's set for a future time, but ultimately that future eventually becomes present, because every tomorrow becomes today eventually. Okay, and then every today becomes yesterday eventually. So it says yet is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak. Okay, at the end it shall speak and not lie, meaning this is where all these things become fulfilled. Okay, though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. So yeah, even if it seems slow in coming, wait patiently, hold it down. Okay, for it will come, it will surely come, it will not be delayed. It's not going to tarry, it's not going to take too long. Okay, so that's what we're here for, man. That's what we're here for. That's what we're seeing. So call Lord Yahbashim Yahshua once again, Thawadi Yahbashim Yahshua once again, because he's made his oh, let's get that, and then we'll close it out. Is the book of Romans chapter 3 verse 3 says, for what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of the Most High without effect? Right? So people who say, oh, I don't believe what y'all saying is true. Fuck you, nigga. We don't care what you believe. We telling you, we're here to deliver a message, whether they hear or whether they forbear. And we're so late in the game and things are so obvious that any good nigga will get up and say, oh, I don't believe what y'all saying. That's fine. Just wait. All right, you're going to die for nothing. At least even if we die on this side, guess what? We're going to get a crown on our heads. We're dying for something. You niggas just going to be wiped out for nothing. Just wiped out just because you're just receiving judgment from the Lord. Just a wasteful death. Piece of shit. Anyway, continue. It says, Romans 3 and 3 says, for what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of the Most High without effect? The Most High forbid. Yea, let the Most High be true, but every man a liar. Okay? Everyone a liar. as it is written, that thou mightest be justified in thy sayings and mightest overcome when thou art judged. And this is all synonymous because synonymous with Ezekiel 33 and 33. Okay, because that's when you're going to see that we are justified in our sayings, because the people are going to actually see these things come to pass. People are already doing videos on it. Yo, them Hebrew Israelites were right. Yo, you got to give it to them though. Yeah, you could hate everything they're saying, but hey, they were right. Everything they've been saying is true. It's all coming to pass, man. What we going to do? Ezekiel chapter 33. Let's get that. And verse 33. And it says here, and when this cometh to pass, right, just like in Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter, right? It tarries, it tarries, it tarries. We keep talking, we keep talking, we keep talking. But eventually the talking stops, right? And when the talking stops, that means that the prophecies are here. When this comes to pass, lo, it will come. Then shall they know that a prophet hath been among them. Okay? So all these false ass camps out there, they're talking their shit. But ultimately, people will realize and know that a prophet had been among them, starting from my elders and apostles of Great Millstone on down. Anyway, I'm going to leave it off there. Lord willing, you're edified and informed. In closing, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakha Kodesh, the water Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, and until next time, Shalom.
However, if you discover that it makes your life easier, then people will be using it. I'll give you an example. In Amsterdam Schiphol Airport, there's a scheme called Privium. And it basically just says, oh yeah, you're Stephen, we recognise your facial ID, your iris scan, just go straight through. And the idea that your face is your passport, actually, rather than your smartphone, will become absolutely normal everywhere. You were talking earlier about Estonia, that's already very switched on. And as people think, oh, it'll make my life simpler, so you know, you've obviously got your bank, your NHS records, in Stephen's case, his young person's rail card, all of those benefits are going to... people will just say, oh, it's so easy, isn't it?